I want to first introduce your dog, Milo, and I think it's important that we brought Milo on set with us. We don't normally have dogs on set with us except for my little dogs on Fridays sometimes when it's Puppy Friday. But we have Milo because you dedicated this book to him. And you not only dedicated the book to him, you have an entire chapter in your book. As somebody who also really does benefit from a therapy dog, from some of the things that I went through, honestly, on January 6th, I want to bring him, and I wanted to have him here with you.
Kyle Rittenhouse, who you probably know for shooting multiple protesters and killing 2 of them in Kenosha, Wisconsin, is, according to his attorney, flat broke. So he did what any untalented right-wing media figure does when they're facing bankruptcy. He wrote a book.
I'm releasing a book called Acquitted. You can order it at RittenhouseBook.com and pre-order it. We're going to be shipping it very soon. That's what I've been working on, and that's what I've been up to. I have a book coming out.
That's amazing. You know, I remember actually talking to you I forget it was last year or earlier this year, and I said, boy, I would love if next Christmas I could get a Kyle Rittenhouse book to be able to give to people on Christmas, and now boom, here it is. Now
here we are. We have the Kyle Rittenhouse book, and I said, Jack, yeah, we'll try to get a book out.
You literally, on this program, we did, it's a Merry Christmas, Kyle Rittenhouse, and we asked you to do a book, and you promised the Human Events audience that you would have a book out for next Christmas, and now boom, here it is. What can I say, folks? When Kyle Rittenhouse takes aim, he always hits his target.
I'm Rayy Vana, and welcome back to Rebel HQ. If you noticed those 2 clips I played of Kyle Rittenhouse shilling his book, he's not doing it on Fox News where you might expect it to be happening. No, Fox News has decided they don't have any need for Kyle Rittenhouse anymore. He's served his purpose. So he's been relegated down to Real America Voice and being hosted by individuals like Jack Posobiec, a known neo-Nazi, who said he couldn't think of a better Christmas present to give his friends and loved ones than a Kyle Rittenhouse book. I can't imagine a worse Christmas present. But if your friends and loved ones are rabid right-wing MAGA supporters, maybe they would like a Kyle Rittenhouse book. I don't know. And he ends the segment by making a joke about how Kyle Rittenhouse always hits his targets, which is obviously a reference to the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people and killed 2 of them, despite the fact that at the beginning of this video I showed you a clip where Kyle Rittenhouse brings his dog on set of a news show that he's on, and they talk about how he dedicated his book to his therapy dog. Kyle Rittenhouse wants you to believe that this was a very traumatic experience for him that deeply wounded him, but also a funny pun to joke about with friends. Which is it, Kyle? Because it can't be both. But we can't talk about the celebrity status Kyle Rittenhouse was able to obtain within the right-wing movement because he killed people without talking about right-wing obsession with guns. Trump supporters are obsessed with guns to the point where they have to deny the very fabric of reality to make you think guns are safe. Just take a look at this.
What do you think is more dangerous to the country, drag or guns?
Drag, for sure.
How come?
It's poisoning the youth. That's what's going to run our country. It's scary. But guns is my right. I know how to handle them. I've taken training. I've raised my kids. Guns are our primary. It's our right, our Second Amendment right that I refuse to give up, and many of our people refuse to give up.
Not even just talking about. I'm just talking about the danger. You talked about how it's poisoning our kids.
From law-abiding citizens, and the thugs and the criminals are still going to have their guns. I want to be able to protect myself from a thug or a criminal. I want to protect, if I'm in a school visiting my grandkids and there's a shooting, I want to be able to pull out and stop.
Bigger problem for America, do you think, drag or guns?
Drag.
And why is that?
I would not want my kids to be anywhere around drag.
But what about guns and people buying them and assault weapons and all the death it causes versus drag, which, let's face it, not a lot of people die from drag?
Well, then I think that's how people get mentally ill with all the drag stuff that's going on. Weapons are not going to walk out of the house and kill people. People do it.
So following that logic, drag would make people sort of sick in the head and lead them to get a gun and do something.
I believe so, yes.
So far in the United States this year, over 35,000 people have been killed due to gun violence. Exactly 0 people have died from drag. Now, although I believe that a lot of you drag queens are absolutely killing it, I don't mean that literally. But what you did see there was people fantasizing about being able to use their guns in a self-defense situation, which starts to explain the celebrity of Kyle Rittenhouse. You saw that woman fantasizing about using her gun to stop a school shooter, which almost never happens. And the idea that a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun is just not borne out in the data. If you look at countries that have extremely low gun crime, it's not because they have extremely high gun ownership and there's just so many good guys with guns in the street stopping the bad guys with guns in the street. It's because neither the bad guy nor the good guys have access to guns. The countries with the least amount of gun crimes tend to be the countries that have the toughest restrictions on gun ownership. But here in America, these MAGA morons would rather spend their time imagining a scenario where they run into an elementary school and stop a school shooter than try to work towards an America where the school shooters don't exist in the first place.